Jane Doe III, originally from Alabama, started modeling at 15. 17, she left home, moved to LA, had landed the campaign with Revlon with Cindy Crawford. In 95, photo of Jane Doe III and Cindy Crawford. Agency was having a party celebrating the landing campaign with Sydney and celebration party. Masterson and friends crashed the party, flirting with her. She was still 17 at the time. She agreed to start dating him and then moved in with him. Wow, when she was 17. She thought he was wonderful. She'll tell you that she loved him. He was charming. A few months after that, JD3 became a member of the Church Scientology. Wow. Only a few months afterwards. Obviously, she was encouraged to join by Masterson. He told her she needed to become a member, so she did. But a year after their relationship, things started to change. Her modeling career was going well. He became more controlling. He was working at that time on That 70s Show. He liked to have her to be home. He did not like if she was out modeling or traveling, and so that ended. He became this. She often woke up with him on top of her, doing this. November 2001, she was in bed sleeping. He's on top of her, full body weight, everything. No stop. She tried to push him off. He had all his weight on her, so it was difficult. At one point, held down one of her arms. She kept fighting with the other arm. She's screaming, telling him no. She ultimately did what she thought would maim him to make him to stop. She grabbed his hair. He had a no-touch hair, no-touch face rule. She knew that. That's interesting. She pulled hard on his hair. He then hit her across the face while he did this. She continued the fight. He got off, done this to her, which he often did, and called her white trash, which he often did. The first incident, she did not report it. December 2001, the second incident. They were at Le Poubelle restaurant. She had one or two glasses of wine, total for the night. After the restaurant, her last memory is standing up to go. Her next memory is waking up in bed the next morning. No memory of how she got there. She's alone, she's this, she's confused. She's going to say her entire body hurt. Felt area was this. She went to the bedroom and found this. Found him downstairs. What happened last night, I don't remember. I feel like I'm injured. My bum is injured. He laughed at her and told her they had this with her there while she was unconscious. He did this to her while she was unconscious. She will tell you she'd never had this and she was very traumatized by it. Anyone would be. She reported the next day to the Church Scientology. She reported to Celebrity Center. Miranda Scoggins was her ethics officer. Begins to tell her that Masterson did this. Chris Scoggins was chaplain. They both told her that you can't do this, you're 2D. Second dynamic, a spouse, partner. Don't ever use that word again, they told her. They told her she pulled it in, a Scientology term that you have done something in this life or a previous one to cause this to happen. So it's something you did that caused it. They also told her she was out exchange with a defendant. What she understood it to mean is that Masterson provides for you, gives you a place to live, so in exchange you are to give him this whenever he asks, and if you don't, you're out exchange. One of the things she understood why she couldn't report it to police is that Masterson was an upstart. An upstart is somebody who contributes a lot to the church. Someone who is a money maker for the church. You're going to hear evidence about that. That's different than a downstart. The upstart are treated differently by the church. You can be in trouble for reporting a member, but more trouble for reporting an upstart. She believed them. She believed Miranda. Maybe I did pull us in. She believed she pulled it in and it was not this as she was told. She was shown policies about not reporting to law enforcement. Cohen objects for the third time in a few minutes and Judge Almeida calls for a sidebar. It went quite a while. Mueller starts up again. It is based on JD3's beliefs how these policies were instructing her that if she was to report, she would be declared a suppressive person. It would have been a high crime and she would be declared. She trusted the church. She didn't tell anyone until she told her husband in 2011. He told her, that's this. In 2016, she reported an incident to law enforcement and that's how the investigation continued. You will hear that Jane Doe III had contacts with Masterson after the incident, ended the relationship in March 2002. She will tell you all she really wanted for the church to intervene and do some handling and to give some help to Masterson. She never got that from the church. You will hear they saw each other later on 2 occasions of this, first in LA, second in New York, where she had moved. Now, this is Jane Doe II, okay? An actress in Oh Grow Up. She became a Scientologist at 16. Her mother introduced her to it. During this time, when she was acting and became a Scientologist, she had a close circle of friends who were Scientologists. Met Masterson and began to see him a bit more as time went on. Her incident, October-December 2003. She was living with Ilari Ubranti, close to Masterson's home. They invited her to the well. Masterson and Watson were there. Masterson, staring at her, asked for her phone number. A few days later, contacted her, demanded she come over to his place and bring your bathing suit. Jane Doe II had agreed to come over to his house, but with conditions. We can talk, we can have a glass of wine, but I'm not getting in your jacuzzi and absolutely none of this. If some kissing comes about, fine, but none of this. That's it. Comes over, has a couple of glasses of wine, she begins to not feel good. She's feeling very drunk, and Masterson demanded she get her clothes off and get in the jacuzzi. She didn't bring a bathing suit, she didn't want to get in the jacuzzi. Now, feeling very blurry after the wine she had on these, came Sol in the jacuzzi, some kissing going on. He orders her to go up to his room. She was feeling very out of it. He was being very aggressive. She was trying to keep things to a minimum, trying to keep things under control. They end up in his bathroom in his shower. Jane Doe II said she didn't want to do this, none of this. She remembers being in the shower, remembers kissing, his hands doing all of this, and suddenly this. She says, no, I told you no. He ordered her to his bed. She went and she will explain why. She said she was trying to de-escalate things. There's more kissing. Then suddenly he flipped her over and will describe it like a jackhammer. So bad she threw up in her mouth. She felt like a limp rag doll, flipping her over and over, and eventually did this on his stomach. After this, Jane Doe II stayed with Masterson while she was processing. They were there a few hours afterwards. She'll testify to what she was thinking. You will also hear from an expert who will talk to you about these situations. People who go through something like this, difficulty they will have processing something, especially from someone they know. At the end of the trial, I'll be able to come in front of you again. You will hear why these victims did certain things and didn't do certain things because of their church, the Church of Scientology. We believe you will find guilty verdicts for these of Jane Doe I, II, and III.